The ballot seals the moments near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the one, so stand with pride. Can't see the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation.
Kia, welcome to It's in the Ballot. I'm your host, Nick Hollander, and we have 6 candidates with us today who are vying for your vote. And you got them?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got them. Excellent. All right. Let's get on with the show. There we are. All right, everyone, make some noise. And mute is off. All right, welcome back. That's brilliant. All right, welcome back. We're going to start off with our first round, in which candidates choose a box. Oh, God. I'm very sorry. Opening statements, and we're going to start off with Tony.
Tony Collis, it's a privilege living in Levin. 5 generations I've been here, born and bred, and it's just a privilege living in such an awesome community. I lived here for the first 20 years, left 20 years, been back 20 years, and in the 20 years I've been back, we've been involved in starting a number of trusts that serve different areas in the community. We started Hinimoa House that served the Taitoku area, and Hope Hub that is a food security program that really helps locals doing it a little bit tough. But, you know, there are so many wonderful things going here in the community, and I'm standing for the fact that we want everyone to thrive, no one to miss out. Whilst people are prospering in some areas, not everyone is making it. So if you vote Collis, I'll represent you on the council for everyone. We want everyone to be involved in enjoying the Horowhenua loving Levin.
Thank you, Tony. All right, next up is Clint.
Yeah, hi. Look, I'm Clint Grimstone. After growing up in Levin, falling in love, raising a family, spending my working career working for Westpac, I spend my weekends coaching at Donnelly Park. I volunteer my time for St. John, which I've done for over a decade. I'm ready to put my hand up again to be the kind of counsellor that my kids can be proud of and that their kids can be thankful for. I offer strong financial and business acumen. I have confidence in my ability to weigh up community needs with financial sustainability, balancing priorities, asking curious questions in order to make sound decisions. I have a mindset that prioritizes service to others. I'm deeply connected to my community through the volunteer roles that I undertake.
All right, next up is Katrina with a K.
Kia ora koutou. My name is Katrina Mitchell-Kutab. And I am standing for the council because I believe that councils are an extension and a part of the community, and the community is not separate. I bring experience both working inside council and alongside central government. So I understand how decisions are made and how to get things done. I'm also not afraid to ask the hard questions when they need asking, but I also know how to listen and to work part of a team. I treat all people the same, and I'll always be here for the whole community. Our council has made leaps and bounds, and so I want to support and strengthen that and include much more progress. My focus is on better transparency, clear communication, and making sure that Levin and the Horowhenua is not only affordable, but also it's vibrant and interesting, where our children have opportunities and our communities feel proud to belong. So I hope you vote for me, and I would love to work for you.
Thank you, Katrina. Next up is Don.
Hi, I'm Don Campbell, also known as Garage Gold locally here. I've, for the last 5 years, helped the lower income people in Levin with rubbish and moving house and just general trailer hire when they cannot afford some of the jobs that I've been doing for them. Any so-called profit I have fed back into the community through other non-profit groups. I have not taken a wage as such doing this. I'm standing for council because I believe the current council has been spending some money inappropriately that is not helping all in Levin, but assisting developers and business people making huge profits. That I'd like to look into. Please vote for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up is Viv.
Hi, my name's Viv Bold. I've family who have lived here all our generations since the 1900s, and I was born and raised here, went to live in school, Horowhenua College. I've been a sole trader for 15 years till a massive car accident. A stepmum. I put the stepmum in because there's a lot of organisation that goes with being a stepmum. Truck driver, diversional therapist. I work at the local op shop, helping people for the last 10 years, and Jack's evening meals on Sundays. I feel, what is a community if it's not the people? And the people need answers about what's happening at HDC, and I'm afraid we're not getting them. So the lack of a reference citizens panel of 40 people doesn't do it for me, I'm afraid. And I'd like to know a little bit more about a village green and a memorial hall with a collusion with Ian Castles. Doesn't seem to work for me. I'm afraid my time's up. Sorry about that, but I will listen to everybody who wants to know something and help something on the council. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Viv. Last but not least, Katrina Mackay.
Hello, kia ora and talofa. I am Katrina Whenua Mackay, and I'm standing for council because for 3 reasons. First of all, I've got the skills and experience to be part of the governing table. I've practiced as a commercial and corporate lawyer. I've had a successful 16-year career as a public servant, working in senior roles in program delivery, national operations, and regional economic development. Most recently, I was the chief executive of the Horowhenua Economic Development Agency. Part of my role when I worked in government was working as the principal advisor for Manawatu Whanganui region in the provision of provincial growth funding projects. And it was my honour in my role then to be responsible for funding a number of initiatives that have supported our community and our businesses to grow. That track record of delivery, working alongside business leaders who create jobs for our people, time's up already. Cheers.
All right, well done, candidates, and thank you for your patience. We've had a bit of technical difficulties, but the show must go on. All right, next up are our box questions. There are 28 boxes. Each candidate takes a turn choosing a box and answering the question within. They also have 2 button cards and 1 defer. A candidate can use a button card to answer a question that another candidate has chosen after that candidate has finished answering. The defer card is used to defer a question that they have chosen to a candidate of their choice. All right, let's start with round 1. And start with Katrina with a K.
I will choose number 1. Vote number 1. Sorry.
Q for Quebec. How will you ensure Horowhenua is prepared for climate change impacts like flooding and coastal erosion?
Well, first of all, the council already has a climate action plan 2024, and it's already working with iwi and Horizons and the government for resilience planning for storm, flood, emergency preparedness, and using Māori knowledge along with that, which I totally support. What we need to do, what I would like to do, is increase community emergency preparedness and knowledge and ensure that all of Levin understand what they should be doing and what should happen in the event of an emergency. So the only other thing I would add to the council's plan, what they've got rolled out at the moment, is studying coastal erosion, which is not a part of their climate plan at this point. But I think they're doing a pretty good job of already rolling out a climate emergency action plan.
Thank you. That's reassuring. All right. Next up, Clint, your turn.
Oh, number 3.
2, 3. X for Xerxes or xylophone. What's your vision for making Levin and surrounding towns vibrant, safe, and attractive places for families and businesses?
Look, the plan is simple, to really just focus on what council can do to help those communities thrive individually, capitalising on the opportunities that O2NL presents, investing really wisely what CapEx we can put towards making the Horowhenua a really great place to live, work and play. And it's the important piece about play that we need to look to invest into. How do we attract visitors to our district to help our economy, to provide job opportunities far and wide? How do we remember all of our communities as well, Shannon and Foxton Beach and Waikawa and Ohau, what makes them special and what makes them different, and what can we do through tourism management, destination management to help those areas thrive?
Thank you, Clint. Katrina Mackay.
I'll pick number 17, please.
17. A for Alpha. Many residents feel disconnected from council decision making. How will you improve transparency and community engagement?
Now, I think this is an interesting question because I'm not sure I would say that people feel disconnected. I think that we have parts of our community that just don't care about what council is doing. So the way that I think we need to help people understand the role that council has in our community like ours, a rapidly growing urban but primarily rural agricultural district, is for them to understand the implications and the impacts of the decisions that council make. So that involves being present. It involves listening to what people have to say, but being prepared to weigh up complex information and make challenging, difficult decisions. Our council, in my view, is already very transparent. Meetings are live streamed. People have the opportunity to come and present to council meetings. Councillors are accessible, and I would maintain all of those things and make sure that I remain accessible.
All right. Now we have a couple of buttons. First one was Tony.
And as someone who has recently been looking at the material and the resources available online, I've got to say I've been really impressed by council's lifting of communication, both by video, through lots of mediums. I've been going through the website. I've realized if you're really interested, there are pathways for accessing all the things that are going on in council. You just have to be interested, and you have to know where those pathways are. That is true. Some people say we want more transparency, and I've asked people, when you're looking for people for council, what are the issues? Transparency is an issue. But when you dig down a little bit more, it's actually information and communication. And when you actually look at it, this council's doing really well. And this is from someone who's been on the outside looking in. I'd give our council high marks for how they've been going in that whole area of communication and transparency.
That is really refreshing. Now we have a second button from Viv.
Hello, my button is that I'm afraid I disagree with you because 51% of Horowhenua aren't very illiterate, okay? Not only aren't they illiterate, but laptops and computers aren't really their forte. And to find things on the HDC site is very hard. Workshops are only notified the week of, and many of the time they're closed and invitation only. Many times I've got there on the day and only to find the doors locked. Yes, and this, once again, this reference / citizen panel, I think that should be opened up to anybody who wants to come on the day that you're talking about these problems. Thank you.
Thank you, Viv. All right. Now, just real quick, was that a button? Okay, so first was Katrina with the K.
I just want to say I've got agreement with some of the things that have been said. The council definitely has improved their communication with live streaming and putting out a lot more information, but we have a very varied and different community makeup within Levin, and we need to be able to reach everybody in the way that they feel comfortable in being reached. We have people who would prefer one-on-ones, people who prefer community meetings, those who would like to sit at home and watch online, and I think there's a lot more the council can do to reach out to people because there are a lot of questions and a lot of concerns, and all people do not feel as though they are listened to, and that when they do actually complain about some things, those complaints, from what I've heard from my speaking with community members, fall on deaf ears. So well done to the council for beginning this change, because it's well needed, but I think there's a lot more that we can do, and we as councillors, well, if we get in, need to go out to the people to reach them. We shouldn't expect them to come to us or to just jump online and read everything online.
Thank you, Katrina. Clint.
Look, I tend to agree with both Tony and Katrina. This is something that council has improved significantly in. In fact, just last month, I believe it was, there was the Shannon Community Plan that was up for a local government award for the consultation process. And I recall that maybe the year before that, our long-term planning process was up there too. What I wanted to focus a little bit on is actually for candidates, this is at a councillor level. How do elected members lift engagement? Yeah. And they lift engagement by turning up, being present within their community, whether that be at council, through civic events, but it's also about being curious and seeking out those varying and differing views, the phone calls, the coffee shop conversations, the side of the sports fields, supermarket interruptions. You've got to seek it out, because that's how you remain connected, and that's why you get those views.
All right, thank you, everyone. And next up, sorry, there's a lot of buttons, as unprecedented for a first round. Never too eager. All right. I don't know. Okay, Tony.
Number 3. Number 2.
We can do you number 2. All right. Done number 1. R for Romeo. What are your thoughts on supporting anaerobic digestion of food waste to produce biogas, similar to the plant in Reparoa? Please note, this is not the incineration of general waste.
You know, I tried to get some information on it in the short time I had the questions. This really wasn't on my radar, but the idea I like. I like the idea of being able to process the food, to have it so that it's a wider benefit. In fact, there are all sorts of other issues that my wife and I were talking about on the way to this meeting, that is maximizing and utilizing some of our waste in productive ways. So I'm quite open to the idea, but I that's all I can say to that.
Fair enough. All right. Katrina with a C.
Thanks. I'd just like to add a couple of points to this. I am a little bit familiar with the processes around biogas, and I think that it is an incredibly useful source of material to create energy. There are some risks, and I would be recommending that this would be a regional endeavour. It isn't something for a single council to explore and attempt to do on their own. The Reparoa example is where they collect a whole lot of waste from across South Auckland, ship it down to this massive plant. It creates energy that is then used to support warming of green glass houses for agricultural and horticultural production. So an incredibly efficient system that requires scale. So I definitely think that alternative sources of energy are something that we should be looking into, but not something that an individual council of our scale and size can afford to do on its own.
Thank you for that. Next up, Don. I'm liking this. Keeps life simple for me. J for Juliet. How willing are you to work with the local hapu and iwi at a councillor level?
Yeah, I'm willing to work with any group, whether it be Indigenous people or other cultures that have settled here, but not above and beyond Kiwis. Aren't we all New Zealanders and all should have the same level of voice? Thank you.
All right, round 2. We've made it this far. Let's keep going. Next list gives me Clint. Your turn.
Number 26.
L for Lima. What is your plan to address Horowhenua's aging water and stormwater infrastructure?
Ultimately, the aging water and stormwater infrastructure will be something that will be delivered by the Water Services organisation that Council is just adventuring on. Council went through 2044, has already committed substantial funding to address the infrastructure needs that Horowhenua has to address this. We've recently installed downstream defenders and have committed to installing more as we explore more options. Those downstream defenders help manage the storm water and the flow into the lake. In a future state, it would be really great for our stormwater to be treated before it enters the lake, or potentially a land-based solution. But council have a team that are working hard at finding solutions for existing stormwater issues across the district as well.
Thank you, Clint. All right, Katrina with a K.
Number 7. 7, please.
Lucky number 7. 3, 4, 5. All right. H for hotel. If elected, will you decelerate council spending on unwanted grand projects and concentrate on vital infrastructure like roading?
Well, I've done extensive research into the council, and I just don't think that they are going to be putting money into unwanted grand projects. But if they did, and if that's on the cards, and it means that there's going to be a massive hike in terms of rates going up for our residents, then absolutely, because we're at a breaking point at the moment financially with the cost of living and with rates going up, and we just can't afford to add anything on top of that. So I think the council's doing well. It's not going out of its way to introduce any grand projects that don't need to be there. So yes, I would if it was on the cards, but it's not.
Thank you, Katrina. Viv.
Yes. Number 5.
P for Panama, or Patu. P. Would you consider advocating for more safe pedestrian crossings on main arterial routes such as Queen Street East and West?
Yes, I would. With adequate lighting, especially installed for nights. A lot of people can't afford transport and either walk home, and unfortunately there is a lot of crime and mess around Levin, and we don't want them to be victims like rape and stuff like that. Okay, yeah, so lights would be a very important thing.
Thank you, Viv. All right, Don. All right. AB for Alpha Bravo. How should Horowhenua work with the regional council to improve local transport?
Yeah, I believe there's already a plan in place for a local bus service, but it may be a while before it starts. This can only really be achieved with central government coming up with some of a fee to get this up and running. And any trial period of buses, like has been tried before, needs to be a lot longer trial period for people to get used to using the public transport. I'd also like to see long distance trains stopping in Levin and any commuter trains coming through to use all 3 platforms that exist in Levin. Pycock can have 2 stations. Why can't we have 3? Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we have a button from Viv.
Yes, this is just by the way, but I often thought, why can't the Trans Rail Department stop when somebody has a ticket for Levin? Stop. Otherwise, just carry on through. You know, it's tourism, isn't it? If you're going to get an extra $50 from Levin, then stop for Levin.
Fair call.
Just clarification, you talked about the Northerner.
Yes, I am actually.
Yeah.
Over the north, trying to remember which train.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I'm relatively familiar with these things, so I sometimes forget that people at home aren't. All right. Next up is Katrina Mackay. Sorry, Katrina with a C.
23.
And K for Katrina with a K. All right. What do you see as the main difference between Maori landowners and hapu in terms of their relationship with council?
So, hapu are the tangata whenua of this land, and they are core to our community. So when council is dealing with hapu, they need to understand the perspective and the worldview that hapu bring, the history and the knowledge of this land, bring that to bear in their decision making, and hapu are partners in that process. Māori landowners, like any other landowner, are ratepayers, and the relationship that council has with Māori landowners is to understand the aspirations and the needs and the demands that those landowners have, and be prepared to work with them to help them achieve their aspirations.
Thank you very much. All right. Tony.
Number 20.
W for Wainuiomata. What do you see? Oh, sorry, I was a bit quick on that. How will you ensure rural communities get fair investment compared to urban areas?
Well, in my campaign, I've been saying that we want everyone to prosper, no one left behind. And so we want everyone from rural to urban. Our hardworking rural people, they deserve all the representation they can get from us, and ensure that they too prosper, but not just the rural. A lot of people look on and say, hey, they're doing well. Not always the case. Here in Levin, 80% of our population are in the highest decile of deprivation, struggling. And these give real challenges for both rural and urban. And so, yes, let's support rural. Let's support urban. No one left behind and prospering.
Well said. And
But how many are we allowed? Because there's only a few of us. What happens if I want to butt in a few times?
You still have one.
Can I have 10? I'm only joking.
Oh, yeah.
I'm only joking. How many would I be allowed? Because I have a lot to say about rural. I've got a lot to say about lots of things. And some things are really, I don't know. How many can we have?
Okay.
Are we only allowed 2?
You are only allowed 2.
Oh,
There is a reason. There's a method to the madness.
okay.
But your colleague allowed to give you more buttons.
Yes. So you can have your button. Did you want a button to this one?
Well, there's so many other things as well. We'll hold on to it.
This is a real test for prioritisation.
I
for
know,
you,
it is a
Katrina,
real
'cause
test for
when you're at the
prioritisation.
council table, you're only allowed one turn to speak.
Well, I will butt in then, because I think, because rural voices are really important. I think for our rural community that we can certainly look at doing a lot more in terms of upkeep with roads, with bridges, having a rural voice at the table a lot more within council, and looking at, if it was affordable, taking things out to the rural communities themselves. So instead of them coming to us, we can come to them, mobile services. And what about tourism? a tourism trade into the rural areas. How do we know what we've got in rural unless we support them? And that's part of bringing that our whole idea of what is Levin, what is Taitoko about? What are the beautiful things that create our community? And they are vast and they are wide, and we have a really good opportunity at the moment to harness that and to ensure that everybody is included. So go rural.
Thank you very much. All right, next round. And not to break tradition, we'll go to Clint. O for ostrich. Do you think council is doing enough to maintain Horowhenua district's rural roads?
I'm an urban dweller, so I drive the roads around Levin, not necessarily outside of Levin. So I potentially may need to defer to someone that's rural. But look, I'm not aware of any concerns that have been raised either by our Waipahu ward councillors or the community around a local issue with the quality of investment into our roads. As a very wide spectrum, the investment into our roads, our roading network is largely in really good condition, that we've had the ability to sweat a little bit more to give us a little bit more savings efficiencies in recent times. So I guess the answer is not that I'm aware. No, we don't need to invest more.
Thank you, Clint. Now, Viv, I think you've already had two.
Oh, this is a defer one. This is a different one.
That's not how they work.
Oh, I'm just saying NZTA are working very well in the rural area. Okay.
All right. We'll let that slide. We'll let that slide. Fair call. All right. Next up, Dawn. Your turn. Choose a question. 8. F for Foxtrot. Do you support borrowing to fund major infrastructure, or should we focus on a pay-as-you-go model?
Yeah, unfortunately, the usual method is to borrow for major items and then repay them over a longer period of time. Of course, that will catch more ratepayers for a longer length of time to pay it off, which should be easier than saying everybody fork out a few thousand now so we can have it tomorrow. So yes, we do need to keep that model of borrowing for major work.
Thank you, Don. Katrina with a C. Oh, you can just butt in. Yes. Yes. You still have one.
I'd just like to add to Don's comments and say I agree that borrowing needs to be one of the mechanisms or tools that we use, but that there are a range of other mechanisms that we should be looking at. One of those is the role of central government in supporting major infrastructure that's required through things like regional deals, through some of the investments that they're prepared to make in order to support growth. And then there are options around using deferred payments in order to get the assets that you need earlier. But like Don, I think it needs to be carefully managed against major infrastructure requirements.
Now, there is an empty chair, but he is not gone. He is just taking a break. All right. Next up is Katrina. It's your turn. No, sorry, Katrina with a C. Yep.
14.
I'm pretty sure we have that. T for Tango. Do you think the council is doing enough in terms of wastewater treatment and disposal?
So my simple answer to this is yes. I think that the long-term plan very clearly sets out a range of investments that council is going to be making until over the next 20 years, and that as Clint alluded to earlier, with the local waters done well opportunity or requirement, there will be a new entity that will be responsible for management of wastewater going forward. But our council has made good provision, has put in place, has got projects underway for upgrading our wastewater treatment, and they will transfer to this new entity. So I think the role that we will have as council going forward on that will be around ensuring a very fair transition, ensuring that the mechanisms that are in place under the new entity remain fair for our ratepayers, and that we're not paying the cost of underinvestment made by other councils that are part of that entity going forward.
Thank you, Katrina. All right, Tony, just in time. It's your turn.
Thank you. Number 28. Has it gone yet?
If it is, I'll give you 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then if that's gone, 26.
I like the way you work. All right. G for golf, but not with Donald Trump.
Do we have good enough golf courses for Donald Trump?
G.
G. What budget line item would you remove to help bring rates down without disrupting basic services?
Oh, I'd like to defer that to Clint.
Oh, and you broke the seal. Clint?
I must thank you, because this might have been one where I might have used my last butt-in card. So you've given me a bit of a gift there. Look, interesting question. And what I've written down is, before we cut a budget line, do we look to do things more efficiently? So bringing Three Waters in-house last year has delivered cost savings while maintaining levels of service. Post our transition to the WSO, or Water Service Organisation, being established, maybe there's more opportunity for us to look at how we do things and in other services. Lastly, if I had a budget line that I needed to cut, this is a message to the government. It would be removing the cost to our community of councils being audited and audited and audited, because it would save more money than the council tried to save last year by cutting boom mowing. Audit costs.
Good defer there. Katrina with a K.
Oh, gosh, what haven't we had? 21? We had 21?
I don't think we have.
No.
You can have it.
Thank you.
If I can get it. Sorry. I for Indigo. The Government and Taxpayers Union have accused councils of being irresponsible with large rate increases. What is your view?
Well, quite frankly, government, you've shifted responsibilities onto councils, and with that shift of massive responsibility comes massive debt and payments that must be made. So I don't agree with that. I think that the government itself is trying to save its own money by shoving that responsibility onto other people, and that includes our council. So we have had a massive rates increase because the council itself has had a lot to contend with and a lot more responsibility, and we don't even know how much that, for example, the Three Waters, how much that is going to cost in the long run. I think it's going to blow the budget big time. What the council can do, however, I think it can look at alternative revenue streams so that it's not focusing solely on ratepayers. I think it can improve its efficiency, as Clint was saying. So while it's not the council's fault that the rates have gone up, I think there's a lot council can do to try and mitigate how much those rates do increase.
All right, Viv. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. I saw that button. Yes.
Button.
Look, this was too good an opportunity because I'm quite a fan of me Wayne Brown. So before the government points fingers, they need to look at their own house. How many millions of dollars was spent on cancelling a ferry contract recently? They should be looking at making meaningful changes that help support the financial viability of councils across the country, that reviews the current broken funding model that they're adhering to, and perhaps they could start paying rates on the property they own in the Horowhenua, and that would make a pretty good place to start and help with our income streams.
All right, Viv.
Number 8?
If not, I'll do the next one. How's that?
It's fine.
Yes. B for Bravo. Do you support live streaming all council and committee meetings so the community can see decisions being made?
Yes, I do. And I think maybe they could also add it to the own council-owned buildings, like Te Takeretanga.
Yep. Thank you, Viv. All right. We're going to try, we're going to do a speed round. Yeah. That's more for me than you. I seem to be the bottleneck in this. All right, Katrina with a K, you're up.
Number 25
Ish.
ish.
Okay. We can work with that. Y for Yankee. Stop calling me that, Sam.
You're a New Zealand citizen.
I know that. What's your biggest priority for the next term, and how do you intend on delivering on that?
So one of my biggest priorities is making sure we don't have more rates increases, because most of us are at the end of the day, at the end of our paycheck, we have nothing left, and a big rates increase is going to push most people over the edge where we just have no more to give. I think we need staged delivery just to make sure that when we are putting those big projects in place, to make sure it's done over a period of time so that we can ensure that money is not just coming out all at once. Transparent communication, improve processes, looking again at alternative income streams, better council culture from within, good financial management, cutting waste, and salary reviews.
Very good, very good. All right, next up, Tony.
Whatever number.
Whatever number, I like that. S for Sierra. Okay. Do you support household food waste collection to stop organic waste from going to the landfill?
Yes, I do. And we have to consider the ongoing increase in costs. But as a fundamental idea, I absolutely support it. I noted the present trial going on from a $25,000 grant to the from Government Waste Levy Fund. I think that's fantastic. And if it really works, I think it's something worth pursuing even more.
Thank you, Tony. Next up, Katrina with a C.
Is number 22 still there?
I'll have a look. Up or down if it isn't.
Either way, whatever's left.
It is, yeah. Yes, it is there. All right. N for November. How would you ensure new housing developments are matched by investment in transport, water, and community facilities?
Well, I've got 2 words, a service integration. So across council, there are a range of different departments that deal with consenting, that deal with developers, that deal with planning, that deal with roading, and quite often I'm not sure that they talk to each other. So the more that there is communication within council about what is going on, and then with other utilities providers, because council is only one of a number of utility providers. You've got Electra, you've got Chorus, you've got central government doing things with roads. Those things have to be integrated and managed in a cohesive way. The thing that is missing, I think, from all of this is the investment from third parties. So private investment, businesses coming here, establishing bases of operation, employing our people, and they will only come to us and make that investment if they see that we've got our plan together.
Clint. AA for Alpha Alpha. Or acetic anhydride, either one. Do you think you have any personal or professional relationships that could become a conflict of interest while serving as a council member?
I'm going to use my defer card on this one.
Go right ahead. Who to?
Katrina.
With
With a K.
Thank you.
No, I don't have any conflicts of interest in regards to the council. My interest is you and making sure the council improves in every way, shape and form. And I would like to say also that I don't have any conflict of interest in terms of I do not have any political party financially supporting me or any other individual or business from a political party financially supporting me either. I am truly independent.
Thank you, Clint and Katrina with a K. All right, Dawn. Sorry, slippery cards. C for Charlie. What will you do to stop poor council expenditure, allocate resources to critical infrastructure, and rein in huge increases?
Well, for a start, we all need to vote so that we choose the right person who will stop the inexcusable overspending on the wrong items. Other than that, we've just got to be very, very prudent while people in Levin cannot afford the rates that we've got.
Thank you, Dawn. Viv.
It's 9.
I'll get you the closest thing to it. Yeah. M for Mancy. Sorry, Michael. Moon. All right. How would you balance long-term asset renewal, for example, pipes, roads, water, with keeping rates manageable?
I honestly think HDC do this now. They're very good. They could actually make the pipes a little bit bigger for growth strategy. But apart from that, they regularly try and do a cross-road roading thing, from what I can see.
Thank you, Viv. All right, we're going to take a quick 5-minute break and we'll be back with hard-hitting questions. Are we clear, Sam?
Just a short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now, you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Head to the lobby, I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Just a short little breather to stretch out your legs, you don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far, but for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat, there's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime.
snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back for fresh, we'll resume on a dime. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back for fresh, we'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, but it's almost time to get back to the show. The candidates have stretched their legs and partying, taking a break. Cause there's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab those snacks for the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates have stretched their leg. The candidates have stretched their legs. Been partying, taking a break. Oh, 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 oh. There's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know.
Welcome back for hard-hitting questions. There we go. How's that?
Questions, we're not gonna make it funny. What does a question? Because every candidate has an answer behind hitting questions.
Okay, we're back with hard-hitting questions and a bell. So let's get our list. And Katrina with a K, you're up. Hard-hitting question number 1. Rates have increased significantly in the last 3 years. What will you do to ensure affordability for ratepayers while still funding essential services?
I think we can certainly look at saving costs, saving money in terms of the processes the council uses, ensuring that we've got good governance, and that goes along with proper tendering, making sure that we are following what we're supposed to be doing to ensure we're getting value for money, and that we're not paying for things, we're not overpriced the contractors that we are using are not overpriced. We need to focus on efficiency, smarter spending, potentially slimmer management structures, so we can cut layers of bureaucracy so that we save a little bit more money, stage delivery, salary reviews, and looking at alternative income streams to make sure that we can try and save as much money as possible and take it off the ratepayer, and keeping it within council.
Next up, Don.
Yes, thank you. Very awkward question. But I'd like to take it back a step and have the council estimate what is affordable, then work their budget around what ratepayers can afford to pay. That will mean a few nice items won't be available, but people will still be able to buy food after paying their rates.
That's always nice. Well, that's essential, really. All right, next up we have Tony.
Well, we can focus on essentials. In our house, when the budget isn't enough to cover everything, we just have to trim the sails. We have to tweak and adjust. And there has to be some way of reducing and ensuring that we can work according to our budget. But the key point I would like to make here is concerning the importance of connecting with and supporting communities. What makes a community? A library is an asset. A park is an asset. We're so grateful for these sorts of things. But communities are connections with people, and they happen with sports groups and church groups and all forms of different types of groups. And if we can ensure that as a council, whilst we're focusing on getting our budget right, strategic partnership with communities, shoring up, supporting and encouraging them as they seek to develop the community that we want to see here in Levin.
Thank you, Tony. Viv.
All of the other three people have spoken very well. The other one that I would like to see is maybe the rebates lifted for beneficiaries and older people, because of the simple fact that I've always had a bug to bear about the married super people. They get the same amount as a single, just about, you know, and the affordability for them is not the same, and so should be lifted. I think we get $780, isn't it, rebate a year? Anyway, I'll leave that at that for now.
Clint.
Look, affordability is a challenge. Ratepayers are at the centre of the mind when councils making these sorts of decisions. During the latest long-term planning process, this did lead to service reductions, internal cost savings that sought to lessen the rate increase needed to meet the external costs that our households cost too: power, insurance, interest rates, while still actually providing for the basics of our growing population. We made further decisions this year to reduce the rates for the 2025-26 to below that we had forecast. Fundamentally, you do it through getting back to a balanced budget, looking for efficiencies, managing debt and CapEx spend appropriately, but also being prepared to engage in reduction and level of service conversations with our community.
Thank you, Clint. That bell wasn't for you. Katrina with a C.
So rates have increased, and Clint touched on some of the reasons for those rate increases, and to a large extent they are outside of the control of council. They are responding to inflationary pressures, debt payment, the cost of finance, power, interest, those and insurance rises. But one of the things I think that we need to actually have is a conversation about what are essential services. Let's get really clear about what we're talking about cutting and what we're talking about as being a requirement. I think they mean different things to different people, and I don't think as a community we've reached a clear view on that. I think all of the things that many of the other candidates spoke about in terms of good, prudent, responsible fiscal management, they're kind of a par for the course. I would expect those to be mechanisms that you use ordinarily.
All right. Hard-hitting question number 2. Do you think the council is doing enough in terms of wastewater treatment and disposal? And we're starting off.
What happens when ChatGPT does not pick up duplicates?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've answered this one.
Yeah, I think so too. But we'll give everyone else a chance, and you a second chance. All right. Starting off with Clint.
Look, the answer is yes. Just yesterday, Mayor Burney turned the first set of ground on the upgrade to the Levin wastewater treatment plant on Makamaka Road. That's a project that's going to cost over its lifetime about $111 million. That's about planning for the growth that we have in our district and building that resiliency for that critical piece of infrastructure that was already at end of life. So this sort of investment is largely funded by debt funding, but it's also offset with future development contributions that the council will receive from the growth that we will receive.
Thank you very much. Katrina with a K.
Just to add to that, I think you said it was 111 million, isn't it, that you've invested in future projected, which I think is fabulous. And we do have an issue that we've got Levin and Foxton. We've got the area. It's very large. It's big. So I think the council's doing what they can at this point, but what we need to keep in mind that we do need some storm water consents in terms of not letting the water keep going into the Horowhenua Lake. I think that's something that really council needs to look at. And alongside with putting those plans into place, we do need environmental reporting. This is the transparency and communication. So environmental reporting to see what benefits are actually going on, regular plain language that people can understand so they're not having to ask questions or they get the wrong idea, budget news, and clearer timetables for the community of how this is going to work, what's going to happen, how much it's costing, are we achieving, is it working environmentally?
All right. Katrina with the C.
Thank you. So, yes, I do think council is doing enough. As I said earlier when I spoke to this topic previously, it's that the future investment that's required is well signalled in the long-term plan. It's been budgeted for, and the delivery of those services going forward will be transitioned to the new water services entity. So what I think the council will need to do when that's happened is be very, very vigilant about the conduct of that organisation, who's on the board, how decisions are made, the financial reporting and scrutiny that a separate organisation, a council-controlled organisation, how that will operate, and that's new territory for us.
Thank you very much. Tony.
Yeah, I too agree that the council have been doing a great job on this. It's really not a sexy project, is it? But it is a strategic project, and I absolutely applaud the plans and pathway towards it. Congratulations to the council.
Short and sweet. All right, Don.
Yes, we do need to look at the sewage plant in a big way, and I understand that it's being extended. I used to go to the Paeroa sewage plant on a regular basis as one of the jobs that I had when I lived in that area, and they had to increase their system. They also had a major problem with stormwater getting into the system. And one year on Christmas Day, with a 20-minute downpour, the plant bypassed. So we don't need that kind of stuff happening here. We need to ensure that the plant is capable of handling our current increased development with view of a extended town that we're going to have soon. But it's going to be very hard to pay for it.
Thank you, Don. Viv?
Right, I don't think the council is doing very well in wastewater treatment at all. I see the pot out there at Hokio Sands Road, as I come from Hokio area, 20 times over the level that it should be. It's had a formal warning last year, and from what I can see from the growth strategy, it's just going up and up and up. They're working with Horizons, but unfortunately, they haven't got the gear to correct it. And the wastewater treatment centre is much the same. It brings in the stuff from the landfill, and the landfill has heavy metals going through it. And this is also what's setting the pot off. Also, the council needs to invest in a new sludge truck, from what I can gather from last year's records. Thank you.
Thank you, Viv. All right, hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Horowhenua Maori Ward for Horowhenua District Council and the Tonga Maori constituency for Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? Katrina with a C.
So I am in favour of retaining both the Maori ward in Horowhenua and the Maori constituency in Horizons. And the reason for that is that they are tangata whenua. They, Maori were here before colonisation. Colonisation has had a significant impact on the operation of the environment, and we need their voices to make sure that there is balance in our decision making. While we might be well intentioned, if we are not Maori, we cannot understand or apply the rationale that we need to, and I believe that we need to hear their voices.
Katrina with a K.
I totally agree with you. Bravo, well done. I just want to say that to those who are maybe a little bit unsure, equality has got no strength if it leaves some voices out. Everyone deserves the equality, dignity, and opportunities. And if you apply it selectively, you're creating a two-tiered system, which then introduces discrimination and reinforces the improper power balances that we've got today. So true equality recognizes the uniqueness of different people and individuals. And if you just say, we're going to put uniform treatment out to everybody, it doesn't address those individual concerns. Māori wards are not special treatments. It's a way to fix long-standing representation gaps, because Māori councillors for years have not had the representation that they should have in terms of who they actually represent. As you said, they are the Indigenous people of New Zealand, and opposing Māori wards while demanding equal representation for everyone creates a double standard. And if you really want me to truly represent all of you equally, which I will do, and then you ask me to oppose a process to achieve that goal for Māori, then you're asking me to treat people differently, and I cannot do that. So I am totally in support of Māori wards and also Horizons Regional Council, Tonga Māori constituencies.
Tony.
So I'm supportive of both. And I'm in the situation where I'm looking at the process that council's recently been going through, as they have been trying to process what does it actually look like. They've got brand new policy that they've put in place, and I haven't had the opportunity to go through it. As a general rule, I'm very supportive. But what that actually looks like, that's the challenge. absolutely supportive of it. I really want it to work. I really want a strong voice and an influence, but I need to understand the process, and that has just been a recent process in council, and I haven't read the policy yet concerning what some of that might look like.
Thank you, Tony. Don.
Yes, this is a bit of an awkward one, and I would rather keep my personal view as my personal view, and it'll be on my voting paper when it comes out. This is a directive from central government that all councils review whether they have a Maori ward or not, and they do it by a binding referendum. So I'll leave it for the outcome of the referendum. Thank you.
Viv.
Yes, I believe in this question. I believe Horizons already work very well with their Maori constituency. Always saying in their agendas they have included the iwi, and they've all agreed to this particular part of this question. Horowhenua unfortunately don't have quite the same terminology, but let's hope they will in future, because as both of our Katrinas say, they are part of us and always will be, and they bring so much more to the environmental side of our world, and without both of them the balance isn't there. Thank you.
Thank you, Viv. Clint.
The simple answer is the community is going to have their say on this matter, and either way, as elected members, will accept the decision that the community makes, just the same way as they vote for us. For me, it's really very simple. In 1840, the Crown on our behalf signed a partnership, and that partnership have obligations, and having Māori ward councillors sitting at the table making decisions on behalf of our community is the way that we can ensure that participation and representation is there. Councils work well when council tables mirror the communities in which they serve, and the percentage of the Māori population within the Horowhenua justifies the fact that we need Māori voice, Māori point of view, to help us make better decisions. I've sat around this table for the last 3 years, and I can absolutely advocate for the power and the influence and the enhancing mana that both our existing ward councillors have contributed to making better decisions for our community.
Thank you, candidates. All right, we are now up to our closing statements. I will refresh the list. I will try to refresh the list. And Clint, you may start.
I'm the lucky one. It's my lucky day.
It is.
Look, today's been really enjoyable. What I ask you to do is imagine a future for Tautoko Levin that's brighter than it is today, where our water services and finances are effectively managed, where our lake is restored to full health, where we can enjoy a town centre designed with green and open spaces where you can drink coffee or eat al fresco, a thriving and vibrant local economy where locals can shop local if they want to. We're going to have better access to healthcare services and improve regional transport links, high quality sports and recreational facilities that will not only enhance the well-being of our people but attract visitors here. I'll strive to earn your vote, not just on voting day, but every day. I'll use my skills to protect, maintain and improve what we have. I'm Clint. I'm putting my hand up to stand up for my home.
Thank you, Clint. Katrina with a K.
I will give you a fresh voice, fairness, and accountability to council. I'll protect ratepayers by exploring alternative revenue streams, staging projects sensibly, and making sure council's high salaries and management structures are reviewed carefully, especially in times of financial pressure. I'll support staff and ensure that the council culture is healthy, respectful, and the staff are able to do their best. Most importantly, I will represent you all equally. I stand for good governance that puts people first. I'm strong enough to challenge where needed, but positive enough to put good work back into the community and support that already underway. My commitment is to work with you, not above you, to make sure Horowhenua is affordable, resilient, and a place that we are all proud to call home. And I would be absolutely honoured to have your support. And I just want to say thank you very much to the organisers today, and thank you to all those here, and also to you watching at home and those who are watching us live.
Thank you very much. Don.
Yes, thank you. I hadn't really thought of a closing statement here. I wasn't aware of the format. I would like to see labour-intensive industry encouraged to come to the Levin to help soak up some of our unemployed, making it possible for people to afford the rates. Of course, the rates still need to be controlled. I would like to see the council do a lot more in-house where the expenditure on the equipment to do the jobs allows it to do the work that some of these contractors do, and we're paying their profit, i.e. the road sweeper, but they need a couple of guys with brooms and shovels for where the cars are parked in the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Very quickly, we have something like that in Kapiti. All right. Next up, Viv.
I too wasn't aware of the opening and finishing statements. Sorry about that. But as far as I'm concerned, the community needs to be involved more with HDC. In the last year, when we found out lately in June that we're going to get targeted rates rather than have a long-term plan scheme of things, I find that the long-term plan for the council themselves, they understand more what's wrong and happening in the community, whereas when it's in-house and they don't have to listen to the rest of us, they seem to pass things over, like the pollution. I refer to, I'll give you an example of Mr. Everton coming in one day and talking about the pollution coming from the landfill. And David Clapperton said, no, I'm sorry, you're not going to have 5 minutes on that. And he said, well, how are you going to learn about the pollution coming out of the landfill if you're not going to listen? Which was a fair comment. But that's the sort of thing I'm talking about. Anyway, oh, crikey, Dick, time's up already. I believe we're going to have to keep Salisbury Street and the warehouse car parks, because with this 18 apartments going up there in the village green, they have no parking, so where are we going to put them? Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Viv. Katrina with a C.
Thank you. I have three priorities that have driven me to stand. The first is inclusive. I want to live in a safe and a strong community. I want to build on the great community spirit that we already have as we grow and become more diverse. And I want to support our local businesses to thrive. I want to be able to attract more business here so more jobs can be created. Sustainability. We are in tough times. We've talked a lot about that tonight, but it's important that council spends our rates wisely. And I'm focused on ensuring responsible, prudent spending and delivering our capital program better. Finally, growth. We are a growing district. We should be pleased to be a growing district. But this means we need to invest in better infrastructure and better services. We need to create opportunities to bring new business, new ideas, and new thinking into town. That means that people with skills like me, I've been here for 10 years, but I came here because I could see the potential and the opportunity. So we want to make sure that there are jobs for our young people so they see a future for themselves staying in the district.
Tony.
Pathways for prosperity for everyone. I am encouraging people to consider a community where thriving businesses create more jobs. We have 1/3 of our working population working. We need more jobs. And to provide a Horowhenua, a Levin, where businesses can thrive and employ, where education skills can be developed, where community well-being is prioritized, and where we treasure our tamariki, our children, our future. Council serves the people, and they do a pretty good job. But we need to focus on the community groups that are working in the community, shore them, support them, and help them so that our tamariki, our seniors, and our families so all prosper in this wonderful place we call Levin.
Well, there you have it. 6 of Levin's finest.
Aged.
Aw. Yep, we'll take that. We'll take that. Now, just my little spiel before we go. It's in the Ballot is a non-profit, volunteer-driven project, enterprise, brainchild of Sam's that we couldn't do without small dollar donations. And every little bit helps. You can go to our Give Little page or check us out on Facebook and donate directly into our account. I'd like to thank our candidates and our audience, both here, not here, and around. Kath, Sam, Stacy, Laura, everyone who has helped make this possible. So let's give it up for them. Well, it's been a pleasure being here and listening to you all. Everyone have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow in Masterton. Maybe not you.